Hello everyone, I welcome you all for the course Engineering Metrology. So this is the fourth lecture on the topic comparators. So the contents of the today's topic are, recalling of the lecture 3, and then we will discuss the electrical comparators, working principle, advantages and disadvantages. And then we will discuss the electronic comparators, working principle and advantages. And then we will discuss the electromechanical comparator. And then we will discuss optical comparators and its working principle. So finally, we will summarize the today's topic contents. So the mechanical comparators are classified into 4 types. One is dial indicator. Second one is the reed type mechanical comparator. Third one is the Johansson microequator. And the fourth one is the sigma comparator. So the Johansson microequator uses the twisted strip to magnify the small linear movement of the plunger into a pointer instead of using the gears, rack and pinion or levers. So it can also be called as a twisted strip comparator. So this is also called Abramson moment because Abramson developed the mechanical magnification system for Johansson microequator. So the principle of the Johansson microequator is button spinning on a loop of string. So this maybe most of the people maybe played this button spinning game. So this has the button with the 2 holes and the thread inserted in the 2 holes and tied the ends. Now the left hand finger is used to support the one end of the string and another end is supported by the right hand finger. Now this button is rotated. So what happens? The string will wound. So if we apply the pull out force, so what happens is the string unwinds, thereby increases the speed of the button. Similarly, when we apply the push in force, the string wounds, thereby decreases the speed of the button. So on this principle, the Johansson microequator works. So this consists of the various elements. So one is the twisted strip, and then we have the adjustable cantilever link, and we have the bell crank lever. We have the lightweight pointer, and also we have the plunger. So this plunger moves through the slit washer. So this slit washer provides the frictionless movement to the plunger. And the second one is it prevents the rotation of the plunger about its own axis. And there are 2 S-shaped members which is connected by this slit washer. So the 2 halves of the thin metal strip, so which carries the light pointer, are twisted in opposite directions. Therefore, any pull on the strip will cause the pointer to rotate. While one end of the strip is fixed to the adjustable cantilever link, the other end is anchored to a bell crank lever. The other end of the bell crank lever is fixed to the plunger. So any linear motion of the plunger will result in the movement of the bell crank lever, so which exerts either push force or pull force on the metal strip depending on the motion of the plunger. either upward direction or downward direction. So this changes the length of the twisted strip. So the pointer will also magnified accordingly. So the Johansson microcator is designed in such a way that even the small movement of the plunger can also be read on the calibrated scale. So when there is no workpiece underneath the plunger or the workpiece is removed, then the plunger will get its original position by the spring action in the twisted strip. So the magnification of this Johansson microcator is d theta by dl is proportional to the length of the strip and the number of turns into width square. So the magnification is inversely proportional to the number of turns and the width of the strip. If the number of turns are small and thinner the strip, the magnification is high. Or in other words, the magnification is directly proportional to the length of the strip. So the second sigma comparator we have seen in the last class is sigma comparator. So this comparator has the plunger. So this plunger is connected to the rectangular bar, So this rectangular bar is supported by the flexural plates, 2 flexural plates. And there is a knife edge, so which can bear on the cross strip hinge. So the cross strip hinge has the 2 elements. One is the moving member, another one is the fixed member. So this knife edge bears on the moving member of the cross strip hinge, and the one end of the cross moving member of the cross strip so we have the Y arm. So the one end of the Y arm is connected to the moving member of the cross strip hinge. The other end is connected to the driving drum. So by means of bronze bands. So on the driving drum, there is a pointer scale. So this is the calibrated scale. The pointer moves on the calibrated scale. So this is the construction, and when the working comes to the working principle, and the workpiece is placed on the surface plate under the plunger. So any linear movement of the plunger causes the rectangular bar to move either up and down. So this causes the knife edge drives the moving member of the cross strip hinge, that in turn moves the Y arm. Therefore, this Y arm drives the driving drum. So thereby the pointer moves on the calibrated scale. So this is the effective length of the Y arm, Y arm up to the cross strip hinge. And this is the radius of the drum, small r, radius of the drum, and this is the capital. And here there is a cross strip hinge is movable part of the cross strip hinge, and there is a fixed member of the cross strip hinge. So here also we have the x. X is the distance from the center of the cross strip hinge to the point of the knife edge support. So here we have the magnification in two stages. One is y by x, another one is the capital R by small r. So by decreasing the radius of the drum, so we can increase the magnification, or by decreasing the x value, we can increase the magnification. The x value can be increased or decreased by screwing or unscrewing of the attachment screw. So we can obtain the magnification in sigma comparator is 1000 times the moment of the plunger. So this comparator is designed and developed by or manufactured by the British. And mechanical comparators are the type of comparator, so which is made up of mechanical means. Mechanical means it uses the gears, levers, rack and pinion, etc. So this we have seen in the last class. Coming to the today's class, first one is the electrical comparator. So this electrical comparator converts the linear moment of the plunger into an electrical signals. And these signals are further calibrated with the help of galvanometer on the graduated scale. So in the electrical comparators, the magnification system is galvanometer. Whereas in electronic comparators, the frequency modulation is the magnification system. In electrical comparators, the electrical comparators uses the differential transformer or an inductance, Wheatstone bridge, the strain gauge or capacitor as a means of detecting the moment of the gauging element or plunger. So in electrical comparators, we use the Wheatstone bridge circuit to incorporate the galvanometer for magnifying the small moment of the plunger into a pointer scale. So as we know, Wheatstone bridge, so it is a device used to measure the unknown resistance. So there is two series of set of resistance which are connected parallelly, and a voltmeter is connected between them. So simply we can say it is a two leg of resistance. So in which one leg consists of the unknown resistor that has to be calibrated. So but in this electrical comparators, it will act as a actuator, that is a galvanometer in the electrical comparators. So the working principle of the electrical comparator is, so the schematic diagram consists of a transducer. So it is an armature. So one end is connected to a thin flexible steel strip. The other end is supported by the plunger and the spring. The two coils C and C dash acts as two arms of an AC Wheatstone bridge circuit. If the armature is centrally located between the coils, the inductance of both the coils will be equal but in opposite direction with the sign change. So due to this, the bridge circuit of AC Wheatstone bridge is balanced. Therefore, no current flows through the Wheatstone bridge and the meter will read 0 value. but practically it is not possible. So this comparator we are using for checking the limits of the dimensions of the component. So we place the work or job under the plunger. So if there is any deviation, so what happens is the plunger moves up or lowered down depending upon the size of the component during the measurement. So this would upset the balance of the Wheatstone bridge circuit. So due to this effect, the change in current or potential will be induced correspondingly. So on that time, the meter will indicate some value as a displacement. So the current will flows through the galvanometer and shows the reading. So the plunger moves through the guide. This guide supports the plunger to move in the vertical direction only, or up and down movement only. So the indicated value may be either for larger or smaller components. So as this induced current is too small, it should be suitably amplified before being displayed in the meter. In the electrical comparators, the magnification available to read up to 0.0001 mm. In the magnification, with the magnification ranging between 1100 to 18,000 times. Some most sensitive electrical comparators available with the magnification of 40,000 times or even higher. So such a small measurement can also be possible using the electrical comparator. 0.0001 mm can also be read using the electrical comparators. So this is the actual figure. So in this, the armature and coil windings and the spring, right, and also plunger is placed inside the measuring unit. So in this we have the work table. So the component is placed on the work table underneath the plunger. So if the size of the component is more than or less than the limits of the component, so this plunger will move up and down, up or down, depending upon the size of the component. So thereby it disturbs the, or it moves the armature either upward or downward. So that causes the changes in the current or in the voltage or potential. Changes in the current or potential. So that causes to the current will flow through the galvanometer and shows the pointer on the calibrated scale. So here there is some adjustment handle is provided to adjust the height of the plunger and the table. So depending on the geometry of the workpiece and size of the workpiece, so we can change the position of the measuring unit by adjusting the comparator height. Coming to the advantages of electrical comparators. One is a high degree of reliability. So in the mechanical comparators, the movement of the plunger is actuated by either gears, levers, or rack and pinion. So all these are subjected to wear and friction, and hence that affects the accuracy and the useful life of the instrument. So on the other hand, in the electrical comparators, we have the minimum number of moving parts. Thus, we can expect a high degree of reliability from these instruments. And the second advantage is remote measurement. So indicating instrument can be remote from the measuring unit. Third one is high magnification. Due to reduced friction, wear, and with the minimum moving parts, these comparators have the high magnification. So inertia is also less, so we can obtain the high magnification. And not sensitive to vibrations. The mechanism carrying the pointer is lighter in weight, and inertia is also very less. So therefore, so it is not sensitive to vibration. But what are the disadvantages of electrical comparators? One is high cost. The instruments usually more expensive than the mechanical comparators. And this electrical comparators requires external power source for operating. That is, AC electrical power supply is required for operating the electrical comparators. So any fluctuation in voltage or frequency may affect the accuracy of the measurement. Heating of coils. So heating of coils in the system may cause to alter the calibration. So we need to calibrate these instruments frequently. Fixed scale. If only a fixed scale is used with a moving pointer, then for the high magnification, so a small range is only obtained using the electrical comparators. Next, coming to the another type of comparator is called electronic comparators. So this electronic comparators working principle is similar to the electrical comparators, but in the electrical comparators, the galvanometer is used as the magnification system, whereas in the electronic comparators, we will use frequency modulation as the magnifying system. So here we use the radio oscillator to impulse a definite value at a definite frequency. So apart from the magnifying systems, the remaining are similar to the working principle, and the construction is similar to the electrical comparators. So this electronic comparator consists of a transducer which is connected to the plunger. And this transducer is connected to the oscillator, and then we have the amplifier, we have the demodulator, and the meter. So the working of electronic comparator. The components in electronic comparator we have seen one is the transducer, oscillator, amplifier, demodulator, and the meter. So here the plunger is connected to the transducer. So the function of the transducer is to convert any movement of the linear movement of the plunger into an electrical signal. So this an oscillator is connected to the transducer and receives the electrical signal from the transducer. So this electrical signal is converted into frequency waves by adding the carrier frequency, that is called the modulation. Now the frequency waves enter into the amplifier, which will amplify the frequency waves into the required level. So this amplified frequency waves enter into the demodulator. Again, it will convert to the modulated waves into the original waves, and it finally is shown on the meter as the measurement. So this is the working of the electronic comparators. Coming to the advantages of electronic comparators, one is high accuracy and more reliable. Sensitivity is also high in all ranges. High speed of response or quick response. Easy provision for multiple amplification ranges, and it is more versatile. A large number of measurement situations can be handled with standard accessories. Easy integration into an automated system. Next, coming to the another comparator is electromechanical comparator. So it is one of the important type of comparator. It is generally used for comparing the dimensions of the component with a standard dimension. So this instrument is based on the use of mechanically operated contacts. So we have the mechanically operated contacts, that is positive poles, that are employed to contact or break the electric circuits. So this action is indicated by the light of different colors. We have the red indicator, we have the green indicator. So what are the various parts of electromechanical comparator? One is the measuring plunger, and second one is the magnification lever. Third one is the positive tolerance limit micrometer and negative tolerance limit micrometer. And we have the green light lamp and the red light lamp. So the principle of electromechanical comparator is, so when we place the workpiece underneath the plunger, or before placing the work, or when we place the workpiece underneath the plunger, the measuring plunger actuates the magnification lever, which provides the negative pole of a low voltage DC circuit. The positive pole is connected through two green and red lamps to the anvils of 2 micrometers A and B. And magnifying lever moves between them, moves between the positive poles. So when the plunger and the magnifying lever are in the middle position, the micrometers can be moved away from the magnifying lever, so that the distance between each micrometer and the lever represents the tolerances above and below the nominal dimension to which the comparator is adjusted. So the positive tolerance limit micrometer sets the upper limit of the workpiece, and the negative tolerance limit sets the lower limit of the workpiece. So a micrometer A is used to set the upper positive limit of the tolerance, while the micrometer B is for the setting the lower negative limit of the tolerance. So the measuring range of each micrometer is plus 0.3 mm, and one division of the micrometer scale represents 0.001 mm from the vertical displacement of the measuring plunger. So when the magnifying lever touches the, so let us we place the workpiece underneath the plunger. So if there is any deviation on the workpiece, this measuring plunger will move up and down. So that actuates the magnification lever. So the magnifying lever touches the anvil of if the magnification lever touches the anvil A, touches the anvil of micrometer A, the green light will appear. The green light will appear to indicate the measured dimension excelled at the nominal height plus the upper limit of the tolerance. So the magnification lever touches the positive pole of the positive tolerance limit micrometer, the green bulb will appear. So that means the component is made to the or more than the high limit of the component. If the magnification lever touches the anvil of micrometer B, a red indicator will appear to indicate the measured dimension is smaller than the nominal height minus the lower limit of the tolerance. That means the component is made below the lower limit of the component, lower limits of size of the component. When the measured dimension is within the tolerance, so the magnification lever will not touch either the ends of the micrometer A or micrometer B. That means no bulb will appear or no light will appear. So in this way, we can use the electromechanical comparator for comparing the dimensions of the component. So let us quickly, we will recall. So we will place the workpiece underneath the plunger. So before that, we place the working standard and we will set the micrometer A and micrometer B for the upper limit of the size of the component and the lower limit of the size of the component. And then we will remove the working standard and then we will place the workpiece which is to be inspected. When the workpiece size is larger than the upper limit of the specified dimension, so this will contacts with the micrometer A and the green light will appear. So if the component is made to the below the lower limit of the size, so this magnification lever touches the micrometer B and the red light will appear. So if the component is made within the tolerance limits, no light will appear. So that is the working of electromechanical comparator. Next, coming to the optical comparators. So the optical comparators are one of the type of comparator which is made up of optical means. Optical means it uses a mirror and then a light source used as the optical means. So in this figure, you can see the incident ray will hit the mirror with an angle theta with the normal and gets reflected with the same angle theta with the normal. So the optical comparators are based on the principle of projection of the image. So the mirror can be tilted where the tilting of the mirror can be controlled by the measuring plunger. So we have the plunger here. So the tilting of the plunger is controlled by this measuring plunger. So this movement will be projected onto the graduated scale. So there is a scale. Okay. So if the mirror tilts an angle alpha, the moment in the reflected ray will be angle 2 alpha. So this is the working principle of the optical comparators. If the mirror tilts an angle alpha, the reflected ray will make an angle 2 alpha. That is the working principle of optical comparators. So the main advantage of this optical comparator is it is capable of giving a high degree of magnification due to reduction of the moving members. So let us, if we consider the, let us will explain by considering this working principle of the optical comparator. So we have the mirror, and this is pivoted at this point. And at a distance d, we have the plunger. And there is a lamp from which we can get the light source. So light source is falls on the mirror, so and makes an angle theta with the normal. So the reflected ray, so this is called the incident ray. Incident ray. So the incident ray makes an angle theta with the normal. So the reflected ray, also makes an angle theta with the normal. And this ray falls on the ground glass screen, which is on which we have the divisions. So here workpiece is placed underneath the plunger. So if any deviation is there, the mirror causes the rotation or causes tilt, some angle alpha, and moves through a height h. So the plunger moves through a height h because of the variation in the dimensions of the component. So the mirror moves through a distance h and makes an angle alpha with the horizontal or datum. So this is the hinged. And if the incident ray falls on the mirror, and this incident ray will reflect through an angle 2 alpha, and can be seen on the ground glass screen. So this is the principle of this is the optical comparator. So we have the reference surface, that is datum, on which we can mount the, or we can place the workpiece, so which is to be inspected. So we have the pivot point. This is the pivot point. So the distance between the plunger point and the pivot point is A. And the distance from the mirror point to the pivot point is C. From this point to the center of the plunger, center of the mirror is B. This is the radius. So we have the plunger or lever, so which carries the plunger. And this lever is connected to the one end of the mirror. And we have a calibrated scale also. And there is a return spring which helps to keeps the system to zero position, or brings the system to the zero position when we remove the workpiece. So let us initially first we place the working standard under the plunger or the lever, and then we will set the comparator to zero position. Then we will remove the working standard, and then we will place the workpiece which is to be inspected. If there is any deviation, this lever moves about this pivot point, and then the mirror tilts through angle theta, and the distance is Y is the distance between the mirror position and the horizontal position after tilting. If there is any deviation, let us the deviation is small x. So this is magnified in 2 stages, and the magnified output is shown on the calibrated scale. So this is the magnified output is capital X. So the total magnification of this system we can achieve through mechanical magnification and the optical magnification. So the mechanical magnification is C, right? This is C and this is A, right? So this is A by C, and this is 2R, and R is the radius of the pointer, divided by this 2 times B. So A by C multiplied by this 2R by B is nothing but the capital X by Y. X by Y. So therefore, so the total magnification is the mechanical magnification, that is A by C, and optical magnification is capital X by this Y. So this is the total magnification. So when we see the running matter, so when a beam of light AC is directed onto the mirror, it will be reflected onto the screen at O as a dot. The angle theta at which the beam hits the mirror is equal to the angle theta at which the beam is reflected from the mirror. That means this is with the same angle, the incident ray angle and the reflected ray angle will be same when the mirror is in horizontal position. When the plunger moves vertically upwards, causing the mirror to tilt by an angle as shown in the figure like this, an angle alpha. Then the reflected light beam moves through an angle 2 alpha, which is twice the angle of tilt produced by the plunger movement. The lighted dot moves to point B, thus the linear moment H is point B. Thus the linear moment H of a plunger creates a moment of a dot equal to the distance OB on the screen. This is the distance OB. So this height H is magnified on the screen OB distance. And also it is clear from the figure the distance CO. So CO means it is center to this is C. This point is C and this point is O. CO of the screen from the tilting mirror creates greater will be the magnification. That is called the principle of enlarged image. So this is about the today's class, and then we will summarize the points. Electrical comparators converts the linear moment of the plunger into electrical signals, and these signals are further calibrated with the help of a galvanometer on the graduated scale. So here we use the magnification system is galvanometer. But in the electronic comparators, we use the magnification system as the frequency modulation. In electrical comparators, we use the Wheatstone bridge to incorporate the galvanometer. Any little movement of the measuring plunger unbalances the bridge, resulting in the flow of current through the galvanometer. So galvanometer scale is calibrated to give the moments of the plunger. In the electromechanical comparator, it is a type of comparator. It is generally used for comparing the dimensions of a component with the standard dimension. So this instrument is based upon the use of mechanically operated contacts that are employed to contact or break the electric circuits. So this action is indicated by two light colors. One is red color and the green color. When the magnifying lever touches the anvil of micrometer A green light will appear to indicate that the measured dimension excelled at the nominal height plus the upper limit of the tolerance. Similarly, when the magnifying lever touches the anvil of the micrometer B, a red light will appear to indicate that the measured dimension is smaller than the nominal height minus the lower limit of the tolerance. So when the measured dimension is within tolerance, no light appears. So an optical comparator is one of the types of comparator which is made up of the optical means. In optical comparator, a light source and a reflecting surface are used as the optical means. So the mirror can be tilted where the tilting of the mirror can be controlled by the measuring plunger, and this moment will be projected onto the ground graduated scale on the glass screen. If the mirror tilts an angle alpha, then the moment of the reflected ray will be angle 2 alpha. So this is the working principle of the optical comparator. So these are the references we have seen for preparing this lecture. Thank you.